Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Panama. Chances are it's a country you've heard of before because, well, the Panama Canal, of course. And if you didn't know what that was, the US's recently installed president will most likely have changed that. For many, that's likely all they know about this Central American country. I'll admit I didn't know much about Panama either when I first got here. But the longer I spend here, the more I realise that Panama is so much more than its canal. You have some of the nicest people in the world here, some of the freshest seafood I've ever eaten. Oh, and did I mention the paradise beaches and minimum year-round temperatures of 70 degrees? This is quite the adventure. Panama's trajectory as an independent country and the Panama Canal are interlinked. In 1904, the US helped Panama gain independence from Colombia in exchange for the rights to build and control the canal, including an area extending 5 miles on either side of the center line referred to as the Canal Zone, which came under US jurisdictional rights. Control of the canal was finally transferred to Panama in 1999, ending 100 years of US occupation over Panamanian territory. It's pretty impressive to come to the Panama Canal and watch the ships traverse through the locks. To think that this was built over 100 years ago, I mean, it's an amazing example of man-made engineering. Because the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean are in different levels, they basically had to build a set of locks in order for them to raise or lower the water to the required level, and then it can continue its journey. It's pretty crazy, and all the water they're using is fresh water which is coming from Lake Gatun, which they dammed from the Chagres River. So the ships that are coming through now are coming from the Atlantic Ocean side, and it takes about 8 to 10 hours for a ship to traverse through the whole canal. And obviously it will end up on the Pacific Ocean side here in Panama City. I must say they've certainly kind of capitalized on the touristic element of the canal, because you've got lots and lots of people that come here to see the big cargo ships coming through the locks. Really, this interoceanic waterway strategically is so important, and you come here and you sort of realize Panama really is the crossroads of the world. I mean, the Panamanians are very, very proud of the canal. You know, it's the Panama Canal after all. I'm in the Casco Viejo, or the Old Historic Quarter, and it's here that you're going to see a lot of colonial architecture dating back to the Spanish era. But there are also other types of architecture like Art Deco, which really kind of show off that kind of melting of cultures over the centuries in Panama, like French and Caribbean influences. So they had to rebuild the old town because the original one, Panama Viejo, was burned to the ground by the British pirate Henry Morgan. This neighborhood is incredibly charming. You've got beautiful renovated buildings, but it's also got a very old world charm because you've got a lot of kind of crumbling colonial type palaces and mansions. So it's a really beautiful part of Panama City. This is Plaza Francia, the French plaza. It pays homage to the French role in the construction of the Panama Canal. They're the ones that originally started the project in 1880, and they lost thousands of men because of malaria and yellow fever. So the obelisk with the rooster right at the top is a monument which is dedicated to the French, and you have the busts of very important Panamanian and French citizens and engineers that played a huge part in the construction of the canal. The word Panama is believed to come from an indigenous term meaning land of abundant fish. And with the country assuming the role of a significant global economic hub in the 21st century, the notion of abundance seems more relevant than ever. Panama City's seafood market, the Mercado de Mariscos, lies at the foot of the historic Casco Viejo district and is, as you'd expect, bustling. Panama is lucky enough to have two major oceans on either side of it, the Atlantic and the Pacific, which means
one thing, loads of fish and seafood. And this is the place to come to see it all. The fish market, right at the source. ¿Cuál es el pescado que come más la gente acá en Panamá? Es el corvina. Wow, es muy grande, ¿no? Sí. Wow. ¿Esto dónde se pesca acá?
Todo el mar.
En todo el mar. El lado Pacífico. Ah, los dos. Wow. So apparently Japan has a lot to do with this market. The government of Japan basically donated all the technology and everything to do with this market. Why? My guess is the Panama Canal, because obviously they can cash in on a favor later on. Esos son langostinos. Langostinos. Más chicos. ¿Ricos? ¿Sí? ¿Cómo se come?
A la plancha, al ajillo, apanado.
Al ajillo, rico, muy rico. Nice, gracias. Spiny lobster, crab. Whoa, oh my God. Ah! He wants it to give me a kiss.
Just behind the covered section of the fish market, past the aisles of wholesalers unloading their never-ending piles of fresh fish, is where you'll find the market's seafood restaurants. These aren't fancy joints, essentially counters with plastic outdoor seating. They serve up the local specialty, ceviche, a variety of raw fish marinated in citrusy juices until cooked. It's cheap, delicious, and about as fresh as you can get.
Oh yeah. That's so delicious. That's like spicy, tangy, fresh. I love it. I love the ceviche juice as well. It's just got a really like nice acidity to it. All about the ceviche here in Panama. There's nothing better than having this fresh seafood right here at the fish market. Absolutely amazing. That was a delicious lunch at the seafood market. Right behind it, you have the start of the seafront promenade, or the Cinta Costanera, which goes all along the Bay of Panama. It's very beautiful. And from here, you can see views of all of the fishing boats right behind the seafood market. You can even see the old town right behind Mercado de Mariscos. And then on this side, you've got the incredible high-rise buildings of modern Panama City. Actually, this is a great time to talk to you about the sponsor of this video, Squarespace. They're an online website design service, and they make it very easy for you to build a website even if you have no prior experience doing so. I built my site using their amazing AI technology, which is called Blueprint Squarespace AI, and it basically allowed me to choose a template and customize it with the font I wanted, the color scheme. It even allowed me to use their AI technology to come up with an about section and a bio for my website. It worked a little bit like ChatGPT, so I gave it prompts about what my website was about. I also love their built-in SEO tools because it makes it very easy for your website to get found on all of the search engines like Google. They're actually the first ever website builder which integrates directly with Google search. So basically I use their Google search keyword and SEO checklist to make sure that my site titles and descriptions could easily be found on Google search. You can also leverage their online tutorials. They've got them on their website and also on YouTube, and that kind of takes you through the steps to using their website and building yours. So if you have a passion project or a business, I recommend building a website using Squarespace. Head to squarespace.com/MeliniAngelica. You get a free trial. Once you're ready to launch your website or domain, I've got an amazing offer. I have 10% off when you use my code MeliniAngelica and you enter it at the final stage of checkout. So have fun building your incredible professional looking website.
Boomtown has swept through Panama City in waves over the past few decades, with an ever-evolving skyline of towering skyscrapers and shiny condos, each vying for the prized Pacific Coast view. But that doesn't tell the whole story. Every major city has a neighborhood that, despite its poverty, holds a special place in people's hearts. El Chorrillo in Panama City is one such place. A physical extension of the historic Casco Viejo district, it hasn't seen the gentrification of its polished neighbor.
La gente dice no venir aquí, ¿por qué? Por la violencia, la droga, las bandas, las pandillas, un poco de todo.
Un poco de todo porque es un estigma en realidad.
Bueno, puedes ver cómo las cosas cambian, porque aquí son los límites con el casco viejo, pero
Esto es casco viejo.
de
aquí.
repente sí, entrar,
Casco viejo, pero miras al otro lado,
Cambras y
basura. Es eso.
yeah. So, todavía no tienen como los mismos servicios, los servicios de la basura y todo,
No,
que
todavía
es un poco triste, ¿no?
Obviamente,
La vida
¿dónde?
es un poco más difícil acá para los locales.
Sí.
El Chorrillo, with its unending challenges, was further devastated during the US invasion of Panama in 1989 to depose a former president, Manuel Noriega. With Noriega's defense forces based here, the destruction to homes and loss of lives has left a deep scar on the neighborhood.
La gente que viven acá son descendientes de qué? De los que vinieron.
A la construcción del canal,
A la
que
construcción
fueron
del canal.
antillanos, muchos caribeños. Las casas de maderas que están como este estilo fueron las que estaban a la hora de la construcción del canal francés.
No fue parte de la zona del canal, ¿no? De los americanos.
Estábamos en el límite.
So,
Estábamos
segregaron mucho a la gente, ¿no?
A la gente.
A los trabajadores y los americanos.
Sí, igual.
Life certainly isn't easy in this place, and yet I see a surprising number of smiles on people's faces. A sense of collective belonging and solidarity that typically emerge in the face of hard times and social ills.
Bienvenido a Panamá. Panamá para el mundo. Este soy yo, el taxi de Panamá, Willie Smith, número 1. ¡Fantástico!
Este es aquí el parque famoso porque la gente viene a jugar dominó.
Jugando al dominó.
Aquí apostamos el corazón.
¿Sí? La gente son felices acá, ¿no? Relajados.
Es de los extranjeros.
Claro, hay muchas culturas por la historia acá, ¿no? A lo largo de la historia, de la
Pero lo que tiene
construcción.
Panamá no lo tiene otros países. Los panameños tienen corazón grandote.
Sí, un corazón grandote.
Somos un país cálido.
¿Ah? Cálido,
cálido,
muy
atento.
cálido. Esto es como es un bar que está mirando el fútbol. Oh.
Liverpool, Paris Saint-Germain.
Oh, Liverpool, Paris Saint-Germain. Este es el bar del barrio. ¿Sí?
El bar del barrio.
El bar del barrio.
¿Conoces la Balboa? ¿Has tomado cerveza panameña?
No, todavía no he probado
No,
nada
ninguna.
de cerveza panameña.
Toti,
Wow, the Balboa.
la más antigua.
Bien frío. Ah, ¿Qué te gusta más de vivir acá en Panamá? Tu gueto, tu barrio. Y la gente le gusta que bailar acá los fines de salsa. ¿Sí? Oye, ustedes también son musicales, ¿no? Son muy buenos, ¿no?
Tocan siempre.
Tocan siempre acá.
Y es el mismo grupo.
Amazing, entonces. Baila muy bien. I'm very bad. Yo no puedo bailar. I'm muy bad. Why do I always end up dancing? I always end up dancing. So you're an experto en bailar, en cantar.
El tío le dice que tú eres la reina de Inglaterra.
Esa inglesa tiene guaranes.
In Panama, the religion is baseball. Traditionally a breeding ground for some of the world's top players, here they start training them from a young age.
¿Cuál es el deporte más famoso acá en Panamá?
El béisbol.
El béisbol, más popular. Y este juego es de las provincias.
Correcto, el campeonato nacional juvenil.
Juvenil. Son los jóvenes que juegan.
Correcto.
Y esto es el Cocle,
Coclé,
que es una provincia.
la provincia, y Chiriquí, que es la provincia occidental, frontera con Costa Rica.
Panama City's Rod Carew Stadium, named after the legendary Panamanian American Major League Baseball player. The stadium is packed for tonight's final. The crowd are going crazy. Tickets to the game are $5 a pop for any of these prime viewing seats. Watching fans is as much of a spectacle as watching the game itself. The bands, I'm surprised to hear, are not employed by the clubs, but rather a group of passionate superfans who show up to major games, instruments in tow, to amp up the party atmosphere.
Y este es el juego, el final, el partido
Es el
final.
juego 5 de la serie de 7. Si Coclé gana, ya es campeón.
Las personas empiezan de joven jugando el béisbol acá.
Desde los 5 o 6 años.
Sí. Las academias ven el talento.
Sí, aquí hay muchos cazatalentos. Muchos de esos pelados ya están firmados por los scouts de la MLB.
Ah, sí. Wow. So, los van desarrollando desde muy pequeño, ¿no? So, vienes con tu esposa, tus hijas.
No, esa es mi hija y la amiga de mi hija.
¿Cómo te llamas?
Álvaro.
Álvaro, Malini, Angélica.
Encantado.
Mucho gusto. ¿Y por qué el béisbol es tan grande acá en Panamá?
Tiene más de 100 años, porque nosotros el béisbol lo trajeron los estadounidenses.
Cuando, el canal, ¿no?
Correcto.
Annabelle Sanchez's unstoppable final 2 runs helped to seal the deal for Cocle to be crowned champions of Panama's 2025 National Youth Championships. Costa del Este, the city's playground for a mix of wealthy Panamanian kids, foreign investors, and moneyed tourists. Come here for the type of chic, open-air restaurant lounge you find almost anywhere there's money. I've chosen to continue my exploration of Panama's bounty of coastal delights.
This is really the other side to Panama City. So different from the barrios around the old town. This is like the modern, very rich, posh side to Panama City.
There's otoro tuna and salmon sashimi, yellowtail tiradito in sweet miso sauce, and top-grade tuna and salmon nigiri.
Got to admit, the sushi is absolutely delicious. The tuna, the salmon, they're so fresh.
A world away from this morning's market ceviche tour, yet surprisingly satisfying. During the construction of the Panama Canal, over 50,000 West Indian labourers, including those from Jamaica, Barbados and Trinidad, migrated to Panama, changing the face of Panamanian culture and identity in the process. Isla Grande, just 47 miles from Panama City on the Atlantic side of the isthmus, is a whole other world. A beloved weekend escape for city dwellers seeking a break from the stresses of the working week. It's a place to unwind, bask in Caribbean sunshine, and let the sea work its magic. A short boat ride over from the impoverished fishing village of La Guaira, and I've arrived to what can only be described as paradise.
This is what is so special about Panama, the fact that you've got Caribbean side, super tropical, and you've got these stunning beaches and islands that you can just come to on a weekend if you live here and just soak up paradise. It's honestly like such a stunning, stunning setting. Eres de la Isla Grande.
De Isla Grande.
¿Cómo te llamas?
Enrique.
Enrique, Angélica,
Mucho gusto, sí, sí, claro.
La vida caribeña
Me gusta todo mi Panamá, la costa,
es hermoso.
todo hermoso,
La
hermoso.
playa.
La playa,
¿Cómo son los panameños como gente?
excelente, muy bueno.
¿Sí?
Los costeños bien también, todos los costeños.
Cálida, gente cálida.
Sí.
Cuando vienes al mar, al caribeño, es como más feliz, la gente
Sí,
más feliz.
claro, más tranquilo,
más
o sea,
tranquilo,
más seguro. Eso, claro, claro.
For me, it's all about the fresh seafood delivered earlier that morning by local fishermen. In what's more shipwrecked shack vibes than glossy five-star resorts, fresh lobster is steamed and bathed in a garlic butter sauce and served up with a side of coconut rice, an island favourite.
So good, it's exactly how I liked it cooked, with a little bit of butter, garlic, parsley. It's absolutely delicious. This place is amazing. It's just so nice that this place is still so raw, unspoilt and virgin. It's very rare nowadays that you have these amazing Caribbean islands that are still so local and authentic.
Portobelo, a historic fort town in Panama's Colón province, home to a large Afro-Panamanian community. The descendants of African slaves brought to work on plantations and mines during the colonial period, it was at one point in history the most important trade route in all of the Spanish Americas.
It's pretty surreal to think that 500 years ago the Spanish were here loading up their galleons with all the gold and silver that they'd looted from South America, bound on ships for Spain. And of course this is Portobelo Bay, and you had a lot of pirates. The famous one being the British pirate Sir Francis Drake. Now he died here in Panama from yellow fever, and legend has it that he was buried in a lead casket off the bay of Portobelo. So his body has never been found, but they did find the wrecks of 2 of his ships right here in the bay. So I feel like there may even be some hidden treasure somewhere around here. So I don't really know what happened to all that treasure, whether it was found or whether some of it's still buried offshore. Apparently there's another secret hidden fort opposite this bay on the other side, which I want to see if I can find. Look at this. This is unbelievable. This fort is literally in ruins, and it is just shrouded in the jungle now. I've spotted a secret house here. Maybe there's some treasure or something. Whoa, just look at this. Could this be where they tortured their prisoners? You can actually go inside of it. It is pretty terrifying. Who was here 500 years ago? And what did they do to them? This place is like a maze that you can just keep on exploring. This is insane. I just walked up from the fort, and right at the top you've got another bit in ruins with all the cannons pointing out to the bay, and a just beautiful view of Portobelo Bay. It's stunning. This place is just kind of standing still in history, and it really feels like I'm in Pirates of the Caribbean or some sort of pirate treasure hunting movie. Wow.
The Chagres River in central Panama is home to one of 7 indigenous communities who live along the banks of the river. My guide Yoyi is taking me to visit an indigenous village, but to get there we first take a ride upriver on a traditional dugout haba. Our Embera guide expertly navigates his way through the at times incredibly shallow, unpredictable Chagres River, spotting obstructions in the water, yet always finding a way forward.
It's pretty narrow around here, so you're definitely not going to get any big boats coming through.
About 45 minutes later, we arrive at the village of Tusipono. The Embera, a people largely shielded from the modern world, they are among the last remaining indigenous tribes of Panama.
This is the traditional way to greet somebody.
Yeah, that's the greeting music.
Ah,
Exactly.
local music.
As one would expect from an indigenous village deep in the Panamanian rainforest, the vibes here are pretty relaxed. The Embera live in traditional elevated huts with thatched roofs. The kids run around playing in the dirt whilst the adults and elders relax around the village. One thing that stands out to me is the black ink that seems to cover most of the villagers' bodies.
Those tattoos are used for basically, it's like a tribal influence, it's just what they wear. But also they have ritual meanings, like for example, there's one of them I know is called the snake, means like long life. They use it also for, as you can see here, for example, he has a lot of dark. That's for mosquito. And also when they go hunting, they use it for
Camouflage.
camouflage.
And then the ink, they get it from the jagua fruit.
From the fruit, yes. It's a seed and it's coming from a palm called jagua.
Bueno, esto es protección del espíritu de la tierra.
So that's called the earth spirit protection. So yeah, you're gonna have protection now.
Our Embera guide takes us on a jungle trek to see more of the nature and wildlife surrounding the village. The Embera tribe is known for its deep connection to nature, relying on the rainforest for food, medicine, and materials. We make our way through the narrow trails, crossing the river and coming across interesting critters, as our Embera guide leads the way barefoot.
It's a very natural, very idyllic setting that they live in.
Yes.
Like the ancient times. A piece of history that's not really changed much, which is nice.
No, didn't change so much in the last 2,000 years they've been living here.
They came from the Darien.
They came from Colombia, yeah, and then they came in the last 200 years, they maybe came to Panama, but remember, that was like the same country because we used to be part of Great Colombia, so...
Yeah.
Back at the village, the women and girls come together to perform their traditional song and dance for us. A beautiful expression of joy and appreciation for life which has characterized every Panamanian I've met along the way, regardless of their ethnicity or race. Sitting here watching the performance, I'm reminded of why I've come to love Panama so much. Countless unexpected acts of warmth and kindness from strangers from a place and a culture so different than my own. Before I leave, there's somewhere I have to go for a more everyday, typical Panamanian meal.
I've learned the most important Panamanian word, fonda.
These roadside stall restaurants are everywhere. Small open-air food stops where Panamanians go to get their breakfast and lunch fix.
El desayuno, por favor.
The typical breakfast staple, hojaldres, soft, crunchy, airy, savoury fried goodness, is served with egg, tortilla, white cheese and stewed sausage.
Very nice. Kind of like puff pastry a little bit.
Cheap, homemade, delicious food that will set you back $4, coffee included.
No frills, just like honest, home-cooked food. It's the best.
These establishments prepare their offerings early in the morning, and when it's gone, they close for the day. So get there early. Being Panamanian means being Caribbean, American, European, black, white, and every colour in between. Its canal makes it the crossroads of the economic world, but its history makes it the crossroads of humanity. A melting pot of ethnicities all coming together. A unique confluence of cultures, somehow greater even than the sum of its parts. Panama has awesome food, people, music, and traditions. Everyone is welcome, and everyone should come to Panama.